Welcome back to Addiction, Depression, Recovery. So far on the channel, I've been very focused on the first word in the title, addiction. But there's another important word in the middle, depression. I've told the story of my addiction, and I've told you how I decided that it was time for me to quit. I've talked about things that helped me through my recovery, and now it's time to cover the other side of my story. This will be a two-part video. The next part will be more research-based and informative, but I want to start by talking about my experience with depression, particularly after I began my sobriety. I'm sure that a lot of people will find my story very familiar. I had decided to quit. I was researching, learning what to expect and what could help make my recovery go more smoothly. I was trying to stay positive, to be productive, to feel useful. But it was hard. I've mentioned before that during addiction, your brain often stops making certain chemicals because it's learned to rely on your use in order to produce them. Usually, it's the chemicals that make you feel happy, called endorphins. And so, it's hard to feel happy when you quit, whether it's alcohol or drugs or anything else you've become dependent upon. I understood all of this intellectually, but that did not help me cope with it. And to be honest, I had struggled with depression during my years of drinking as well. Alcohol is a depressant, and I was using it to self-medicate my depression, which doesn't sound like it makes much sense, and that's because it doesn't. But that was my method of coping with my depression, and I fooled myself into thinking it was working for a very, very long time. Then I quit, and suddenly my depression was in the forefront of my mind again. So here I was. On one hand, I was proud that I had decided to make a change, and I was doing everything I could to learn about my situation and face it head on. But on the other hand, it's tough not to be hard on yourself in this situation. I felt like I had a disease or a curse had been laid upon me. I've said this before, but I was walking in a shadow I'd created in my own mind. As positive as I tried to be, there were days that I was disgusted with myself. I couldn't look in the mirror without crying. Sometimes I couldn't get out of bed all day. I don't just mean that I slept all day, I mean that I woke up, got dressed, crawled back into bed, and then spent the entire day staring at the ceiling, just trying not to think. I would burst into tears for no reason at random times. It became difficult to work and provide for myself. Food had no taste, and I couldn't see a way out. I didn't want to be me anymore, and there were days that I wondered how much longer I could do this. I say all of this to let you know that the positive, motivated person you see on this channel is not all that I am. I do everything I can to be the person I appear to be in these videos, and stick to my plan so I can stay on top of my depression as well as my recovery. But I still have bad days. I got through those times by just focusing on surviving. I made myself eat food that had no taste by thinking of it as fuel for my body, and I dragged myself out the door to go to work because it was a necessity. I had to pay my bills. I put my head down and got through those periods, one day, sometimes even 1 minute at a time. Minutes that felt like hours. And eventually, my life would turn right side up again, and things would be back to normal. For a while. These days, I don't experience these periods of deep depression as often as I used to. I keep myself busy with projects that make me feel useful, things like this channel. I've developed strategies for dealing with my depression when it does arise. And I have an overall plan for my continued sobriety and mental health that I'm always working on, taking time to learn more about myself so I can cope in a healthy way whenever I'm faced with a trigger, or an episode of depression, or a craving. Also, being able to look back at how far I've come makes me feel proud and much stronger than I'm used to feeling. But really, the main reason I'm telling any of you any of this is because I know that there are a lot of you out there who struggle with depression too. If you're watching this video, if you're following my channel, odds are you're dealing with addiction, and odds are very good in that case that depression has accompanied that addiction. And so, my message to you is this. You are a warrior. You are brave and strong, and you fight this silent battle every day. You will win this war in the end. Stay proactive, stay on top of it, learn about it, and learn how to fight back. Which brings me to the next video, a video that may take longer to research than some of the others. There are many types and causes of depression, and it won't be simple to condense all that information down into a relatively short and simple video, but I'm doing my best to do just that. So keep an eye on this channel, and I'll have that video done in a few weeks, or maybe a few more than that. Until then, stay strong. Don't let depression win. Put your head down, get through it. You can do this. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped. I know it helped me. This has been Addiction, Depression, Recovery. And remember, we do heal.